The morning heat shimmered off the tarmac like a mirage, distorting the lines of concrete and jet engines beyond. Desmond Avery stood still, his silhouette cast long by the rising sun, a pillar of control in a world that was about to spin into chaos. Dressed in a sharply tailored graphite suit, his presence carried weight, not because of flash or fame, but because of substance. Beside him stood Elijah Brandt, his trusted executive assistant and confidant, gripping a slim leather briefcase and a tablet encrypted to the teeth. The two men moved together like clockwork, precise and unhurried as they approached the private terminal of Airline Air's flagship jetway. Desmond wasn't here for leisure. He wasn't even here to board a jet in the traditional sense. He was here to finalize a cross-continental acquisition deal worth $2.1 billion, one that would redefine freight logistics across Asia, Europe, and North America. The Falcon V-12 aircraft parked near the edge of the runway was more than a luxury. It was his instrument, a flying command center, a vessel of strategy built to his exact specifications. And yet, standing between him and the entry gate, clipboard in hand and authority misused, was a young man named Travis Gellerman. Gellerman was in his mid-20s, his uniform crisp, his hair combed with surgical precision. A laminated badge read, Terminal Access Supervisor. He held his ground as the two men approached. "Sir, I'm going to need to stop you right there," Gellerman said without preamble. Desmond halted. Elijah, blinking in disbelief, stepped forward. "This is Mr. Avery. He owns the aircraft. The manifest and biometric clearance were submitted overnight." Gellerman shook his head. "Authorization has to come from Central Dispatch. I don't have verification here." Desmond studied him, not with disdain, but with a calm that unnerved. "And if I told you I built this terminal?" Gellerman scoffed nervously. "Then I'd say the rules apply even more." Behind them, near a service panel, a small boy stood quietly with headphones over his ears and a tablet clutched to his chest. His name was Arlen. Autistic, brilliant, and sensitive to human emotion in ways the world still didn't understand. His tablet, powered by emotion-sensing AI, pinged a soft red glow. Distress detected. Severity high. Arlen instinctively tapped record. Back at the impasse, Elijah held out his tablet. Biometric clearance, facial match, ownership, itinerary, an encrypted manifest. Just scan it. Gellerman didn't budge. "That's above my clearance level. Central only." Desmond tilted his head. "And how long have you been here?" 6 weeks, Gellerman said. "But I finished top of my training class." Desmond slowly reached into his coat and retrieved a sleek, black device. It didn't have a number pad or display screen, just a thumbprint reader and a single button. He pressed it. 70 miles away, in the nerve center of Airline Air's operations headquarters, sirens flashed red. Code Gravity, Level 9 initiated. The director of operations, Miles Vanden, leapt from his chair. "Only one person has this clearance," he murmured. "Desmond Avery," his assistant replied, wide-eyed. Back at the terminal, Gellerman stiffened. "What did you just do?" "We'll wait by the car," Desmond said quietly, walking back toward the armored SUV parked nearby. Arlen's tablet, still recording, now displayed a status line, facial scan recorded. Logged. Protocol sync initiated. Within minutes, air traffic halted. Flights redirected. Terminals locked. Crew scrambled. The entire regional fleet of Airline Air was grounded. Gellerman blinked, watching technicians hustle toward the gates. Pilots checking phones. Gate agents whispering. Overhead displays flickered to delayed in rapid sequence. His radio crackled. "Supervisor Gellerman, report to Boardroom 9. Immediately, he paled. Boardroom 9 was in the corporate tower. Desmond stood by the SUV, arms folded, gaze unreadable. A message buzzed on Arlen's tablet. Footage flagged. Incident under review. AI verified. The war had begun. Inside Boardroom 9, the atmosphere was glacial. Desmond's face appeared on the LED screen above the table as the chairman, Harold Kemper, entered with a grim face. He sat at the head of the table and whispered, "Prepare yourselves. We're about to answer for arrogance." The board sat in silence as Desmond laid out the timeline. Not with rage, not with vengeance. Just precision. Surveillance footage, logs, timestamps. "The system knew who I was," he said. "The question is, why didn't your staff?" He then detailed dozens of flagged HR reports, including a suppressed dossier filed 6 months prior by Celeste Miles, former head of inclusion and culture, documenting systemic failure in training and accountability. A document Gellerman's hiring team had ignored. Desmond spoke again. This isn't about one man with a clipboard. It's about the rot you enabled. He then triggered a clause buried in Airline Air's bylaws. Clause 21. Immediate board suspension, full audit, regional rollback. You have until midnight. Silence. Gellerman shrank in his seat as Desmond's screen went black. The skies went silent. The board erupted in chaos. Back in the SUV, Elijah asked, "What now?" Desmond didn't answer. "Not right away. Now," he said. "We fix what they refused to." He called Celeste. That evening, she returned to a role she'd been pushed out of for caring too much. Her first act, to lead a full cultural audit with total authority. No filters. No PR spin. Midnight came. The board folded. Desmond didn't celebrate. Instead, he called a meeting, not with executives, but with the ground staff. Gate agents. Mechanics. Janitors. "My name is Desmond Avery," he said. "And I'm not here to talk. I'm here to listen." And for 3 hours, he did. Stories poured out. Stories of ignored complaints, cruel shifts, and silenced brilliance. Desmond took notes. Nova wasn't just an idea anymore. It had begun. From an abandoned maintenance hangar, Nova's birth took shape. Not in glass towers, but in open spaces filled with courage. Camila Triggs, once a gate supervisor ignored by Orion's brass, was now leading daily operations. Isaac Boone, a retired pilot blackballed in the 70s for challenging racism, became Nova's moral compass. 3 principles were etched into their mission: honor, safety, dignity. Celeste's audit unearthed 73 violations in Phase 1 alone. As press caught wind of Nova's formation, public sentiment flipped. Hashtags erupted. Hashtag FlyNova. Hashtag dignity in the sky. Hashtag wings of change. Orion tried to retaliate. Legal threats, media smears, even sabotage offers to pilots. One pilot, Captain Armand Dela Cruz, came forward. "They offered me money to delay your launch," he confessed. "Instead, I want a co-pilot." Desmond accepted. On Nova's inaugural flight, New York to Atlanta, every seat was booked. No elite lounges. No hidden hierarchy. Just a new kind of flight. Aboard, passengers were greeted not just with snacks, but with stories. The in-flight video featured Camila and Isaac, speaking not from scripts, but from truth. Desmond sat in coach. No special seating. Just another voice in the movement. As they touched down in Atlanta, fire trucks sprayed arcs of water in celebration. Nova had landed, and Orion's collapse had begun. Leaked emails showed coordinated attacks, surveillance of whistleblowers, and plans to buy off Nova staff. It didn't work. Desmond responded not with defense, but with design. Nova launched a public-facing transparency portal, live metrics, real-time incident logging. Every complaint was tracked and resolved transparently. Nova became more than an airline. It became a blueprint. In the weeks that followed, Isaac Boone collapsed during a seminar. The stress caught up with his heart. He survived, barely, but the message hit home. Desmond enacted the Boone Principle, a required story-sharing module in all training, honoring the invisible giants. Then came the lawsuit. Orion Jet, under a new shell entity, claimed Nova had stolen trade secrets. Desmond live-streamed the strategy session, responding to the claim. No edits. Just truth. 30 million viewers tuned in. The suit was dropped. Desmond didn't gloat. He simply said, "Legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's what you lift." The day Isaac Boone passed, every Nova flight paused for 60 seconds of silence. Not a single passenger complained. And when Nova's first West Coast flight took off, piloted by a black woman and a Latina trans co-pilot, under murals painted by incarcerated artists and cheered on by students and elders alike, it was no longer a protest. It was a promise, a future in flight, and above it all, a single message echoed from gate to gate. We don't fly for applause. We fly for change.